questions.
Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session which we are conducting on our special theme, that is integration of virtual labs in teaching and learning. Well, today this is the day one of this training session and this is specially meant for our phase 2 audiences, and by phase 2 I mean that we are specially catering to South states of India, which are Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and UTs of Puducherry, Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Well, this session is open to all. You can all watch it, participate in the assessment that I'll be telling you in the end of the session, but specifically this is for the South zone. And as I mentioned you that this is the day one of this particular session where we will talk about very important theme, that is virtual labs, need, perspective and scope. You are watching this live and interactive session of ours on PME Vidya channels from 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube channel NCERT Official. Well, if you have any query, you want to speak to our experts, you can always do that. Take down our phone number, which is 8800440559. We also have a dedicated email ID for you if you wish to send us your suggestions and feedback, or if there is anything that is there in your mind regarding this beautiful initiative of Virtual Lab, please write to us on diksha.training@ciet.nic.in. Since it's a training program, we will be having an assessment. You have to register yourself for the same and you can participate in the assessment. If you score more than 70%, you will be granted a certificate. I will share all the details with you, how you can do that and what are the deadlines by the end of today's session. So let me tell you once again, under the umbrella theme of integration of virtual labs in teaching learning phase 2, today we are focusing on day 1 on this very important topic of virtual labs need, perspective and scope. In the entire session, we will talk about why there was a requirement of this beautiful initiative and how it took place, how we are integrating virtual lab in daily teaching learning and everything in detail, much more. So please stay tuned for the same, and before I jump into all the details, questions, let me introduce you all to the experts for the day. Yes, we are joined by Professor Indu Kumar. Ma'am is Head of Department ICT and National Coordinator for Diksha from CIET NCERT New Delhi. Ma'am, namaskar and welcome to the session.
Thank you.
We are also joined by Dr. Praveen B. Benja. Ma'am is Associate Professor from DICT, that is Department of ICT and Training Division from CIET NCERT New Delhi. Ma'am, namaskar and welcome to the session. And you know, since we are talking about these virtual labs and we have been conducting so many sessions, you have been watching demonstrations also, but how this initiative actually came to the fore? That is a very important question, and this is my first question to Professor Indu. Ma'am, you know, we all have been talking about National Education Policy 2020. We are fulfilling its objectives also, and it focuses on the integration of technology in the field of education. So, which technological thrust areas would you like to highlight here?
Thank you. So, that is very important and primary question to be asked and to be understood.
Yeah.
Because now the NEP 2020, which was released in 2020, is in the process of implementation, and it focuses on several thrust area as far as technology integration in education is concerned. So, it carries 2 chapters dedicated to technology integration and use. So, those are chapter 23 and chapter 24. If we need to understand the part of implementation of technology in education, we need to go through these 2 chapters. However, in a nutshell, I will be deliberating upon some of the important thrust area of technology integration in education. So, NEP 2020 says that technology should be used for teaching, learning and evaluation, because these are the 3 prime things that a teacher does in day-to-day basis. We teach, we are a learner also, and we evaluate. So, how can technology be used for teaching, learning and evaluation? Then another thrust area is enhancing educational access.
Right.
So, access to education is also very important because there are far flung areas also in India, those who are remotely located. So, whatever exists online, or if we can use technology somehow to reach out to those areas, if teachers are not there in those areas, we can identify impactful teachers, and we can make use of those teachers for online teaching simultaneously in several schools
Yes.
where teachers are not there. So, that is how we can enhance educational access, and there are several other ways also for enhancing educational access by developing repositories of education, by implementing reaching out to our students through different apps and other online modes. Then it is also important to remove language barriers,
Yes.
because India is a multilingual country, it is a pluralistic country, multicultural country, and there are more than 1700 languages and dialects which are spoken in our country. But when it comes to digital contents or digital resources or digital information, it is primarily it exists in English. But there is also a mention in NEP 2020 during the foundational years, the education of a child, the learning of a child must happen in their mother tongue. So, we need to make available resources and digital reach also in the mother tongue.
True.
So, in that context, we need to explore artificial intelligence to provide and different translation tool to provide contents in multiple languages. So, that is also one of the important areas which NEP 2020 says, removing language barriers. Then supporting teacher preparations and professional development. In our country, as we know, it's a populous country. We have surpassed China if it comes to the population of this country, and it applies to teacher population also. We have a vast teacher population, vast student population, and a very large number of schools are also there. Absolutely. In our country. So, professional development of these many teachers becomes a challenge. If I talk about elementary education, there are around 42 lakhs elementary teachers in our country. So, training all these teachers, professional development of all these teachers then becomes a great challenge, even though we use cascade mode of training. So, in the cascade mode, information loss is there. So, NCERT started Nishtha initiative also for training these teachers by removing cascade a bit. But then also it is a big challenge to train these teachers. So, technology comes as a rescue for training the vast population of teachers and their continuous professional development. Right. So, technology is always rescue for such initiatives, and we can scale up any initiative that we do using technology. Then increasing access for Divyang students is also one of the thrust areas of NEP 2020. In our country, there is a vast Divyang population also, children who are challenged physically or cognitively challenged. So, we need to concentrate on those children also, and we have to see what are the assistive technologies which are there to help these children out. And a lot of assistive tools, assistive technologies have been identified, like providing them audiobook if they are visually impaired, providing content in sign language can be some of the important initiative in this context. Then streamlining educational management and administration. A lot of time goes in such things if we do everything manually, like collection of fee and maintaining attendance of teachers and students and all. So, technology can streamline these processes also. We can mark attendance using some app, and which can come in the database of a particular school, and we can also fetch such data at national and state level also. So, that is also one of the important area which has been highlighted in
Right.
NEP 2020.
Well, that's lovely because you have mentioned almost everything, and in detail. We all know that digital education has brought a kind of revolution in the educational sector.
True.
And after COVID-19 pandemic, it became need of the hour. And National Education Policy 2020 also says a lot about digital education, because you have talked about making education accessible to all, inclusivity in education, and of course equity in education. Also, removing the language barrier, since India, of course, is a land of diversity, and it is very, very important for each and every student to understand the concepts in their own mother tongue. Let's not force any other language on them. And here, digital education plays a very important role, because it makes possible so many languages on one single platform. So, ma'am, now I would like to ask you about the recommendations that NEP 2020 says about digital education here in India.
Yeah, in your previous questions, we discussed in a nutshell the
Yes.
first area of NEP 2020. So, let us now be more specific in understanding the recommendations of NEP 2020. So, digital infrastructure NEP talks about. It says there is a large, at a large scale, there had been an electrification of our rural areas also in the past few decades.
Yes.
So now this opportunity we can use to for the accessibility of internet in rural areas, and developing a bare minimum infrastructure, digital infrastructure, so that potential of technology can be harnessed to improve the quality of education. So, one of the recommendation is developing digital infrastructure across country, be it rural areas or be it urban areas. It is not that much a challenge in urban areas, but in rural areas it's a big challenge to have appropriate infrastructure. Then it also talks about making available various portals, apps and tools for enhancing the quality of education. Then yes, digital resources, and that too in multiple languages.
Yeah.
So, quality education also needs quality digital resources. Until and unless we have quality digital resources, we cannot implement technology in education. Then in a country like India, we cannot rely on one mode of delivering education. Like internet should not be seen as the only medium
Yes.
of imparting education and imparting digital content, disseminating digital content, because just because of the geographical location of several areas, penetration of internet becomes a big challenge. So, we need to harness telecast and broadcast technologies also to disseminate quality digital content.
Right.
And CIT NCRT is catering to around 400 radio channels. We are disseminating our contents through, and we all have also harnessed the potential of telecast. So, right now there are 200 DTH TV channels across the country, and 12 channels are being run at CIET NCRT. Then e-governance and management I have already spoken about. Then online assessment and examination also becomes a big challenge for online and digital education. So, we need to come up with a robust system of online examination and assessment. Then building digital competencies of students. We are talking about virtual labs. So, through virtual labs also we can build the digital competencies among students. Apart from this, they need to understand the importance of cyber ethics also, keeping themselves safe, and recognizing the safety and security concerns and privacy of other peoples also. Children are fearless, but in using technology, but they need to also understand the hindsight of technology, and that has been emphasized in NEP 2020. Then content pedagogy technology integration is also important, because technology cannot work in isolation until and unless we integrate it with appropriate suitable content and suitable technologies, pedagogies per se. Then capacity building of teachers and teacher educators is also very important, and we need to utilize technology for the capacity building. I mentioned this in the last question also, so I won't be elaborating much upon it. Then laying down standard is also important. We talk about that we need to integrate technology in teaching, learning and assessment. But what is the standard if we are talking about an assistive tool? If we are talking about various models of education, if we are talking about cyber safety and security, if we are talking about quality digital content. So, standards need to be laid out for each and everything that we are addressing using technology. So, that is also one of the recommendation of NEP 2020, and National Educational Technology Forum has been established, which is also a recommendation of NEP 2020 for quality check of technological interventions. Then intensive research in ET is also very important, though we tend to do researches in various areas of education, but we require quality research in educational technology and ICT as well, which is also one of the recommendations of NEP 2020.
Right.
So, so NEP 20, we can see here the vision which has been reflected in NEP 2020. So, it is there, I must summarize it that way. Technology use and integration, ensuring equitable use of technology, then intensive use of technology in teaching learning, content creation, digital repository and dissemination of content. Then blended mode of learning should also be is also required, and then addressing digital divide. If there is digital divide, I have already mentioned that potential of TV and radio is also being harnessed for addressing the digital divide. So, yes, again we can see the same in the infographic, how to address the implementation of technology in teaching, learning and assessment, content pedagogy technology integration and use of assistive technologies, digital infrastructure, digital resources, capacity building of teachers and teacher educators, and then building digital competencies of students. So, these are some of the recommendations and areas to be worked upon as per NEP 2020.
Absolutely. We want to make education accessible to all. We have to work on that urban-rural divide. That is why we cannot just rely on ICT. Satellite communication is extremely important. And today, since we are talking about immersive technologies, assistive technologies, we know that the entire landscape of teaching learning has changed. And AI here, it plays a very important role, but I feel that another word for AI is responsibility, because you mentioned cyber threats and cyber safety security also. But AI is like a boon also, provided how you are using it. And one such product of AI is virtual labs, something that we all are very excited to learn about. We have been listening about it, we have been watching demonstrations, but what exactly they are, because each time this is something new, something new comes up from virtual labs. So, ma'am, I would like to ask you what exactly virtual labs are and why they were introduced at the first place.
Yes, right. So, again, very basic question to be understood. Yes, we can think that if there are physical lab and children get experience in physical lab, why these virtual labs? Yes, we need to understand that why virtual labs. So the one of the important area is to empower students with digital tools, because if digital technology is there, so virtual labs are a kind of digital tools, digital initiatives which are important for children to be learnt. Then equity and inclusion. I was just mentioning about the availability of physical labs, but physical labs sometimes, because of the dearth of resources, are not functioning everywhere in a uniform manner, though it must function formally, but sometimes the material is not there. That is why labs are not functional. So then we need to address equity also. We need to provide them with the learning resources which these students require.
Absolutely.
Apart from that physical labs are available for limited period of time. We have 1 or 2 period in a week to access physical labs. But the virtual labs are available all the time to students. So for addressing equity and inclusivity, virtual labs are there, so that students can access virtual lab anytime, anywhere, and then they can practice the experiments in virtual environment. It is also addressing blended learning approach. Blended learning is a combination of physical learning, learning in physical environment, and learning in digital or online environment. So whatever we are learning in physical environment can be consolidated in digital or virtual environment, and if we are learning first in virtual environment, then learning can be consolidated in physical environment. So that is how a blended learning approach is being addressed with the help of the virtual labs. And then experiential learning is also one of the important area. We need to have ample experiences. In physical lab also we are getting experiences of conducting experiments, but conducting the same experiment in virtual environment enhances the learning which has been derived in physical environment. So that is how the experiential learning goals are achieved in a better way by blending the physical and digital learning, virtual learning. So that is why the idea and vision of virtual labs are there. And then NEP 2020 also, the recommendations of having virtual labs is also there in NEP 2020. And it says what NEP 2020 says about virtual lab: access to quality, practical and hands-on experiment based learning experiences to each and every student is very essential, important. Virtual lab enhance actual laboratory experiences, and lab based e-resources help students in visualizing the concept which is there. Even though that experiment is not there, but there are a lot of resources in virtual environment which make children visualize the abstract concepts. There are a lot of concepts which are abstract and can best be understood by visualizing. So in the virtual lab we can visualize those abstract concepts.
Right. So now you mentioned blended learning, of course, and you also mentioned that there is a challenging situation because physical laboratories are not accessible to everybody. Not every child gets a turn. There is dearth of resources and materials also. And by performing those experiments in a virtual environment, they at least get the hands-on experience before they enter any physical laboratory. And you also, every time we get this disclaimer, it is not a replacement for real physical laboratories. But here I'm wondering that performing experiments in a virtual environment, does that give the same kind of excitement to the students that we get when we go to the physical laboratories? And this leads me to my another question, that what are the best features of virtual labs, and how they enhance a learner's experience?
So practicing anything makes us perfect as we practice. But in physical lab we cannot practice an experiment again and again. So it is very exciting to practice the same experiment in virtual environment. So it's not that only physical lab, working in physical labs is exciting for students. Doing the same thing in virtual environment is all the more exciting for the students, because now our students are very techno savvy.
Yes,
They
yes.
like to use technology, they
True.
like to access the resources which are made available through internet. So these labs are available through internet for free to students, so they can learn after school hours also, and it can be, the virtual lab can be integrated in the larger lesson plan, learning plan of a teacher also. So they can be accessed anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
So not only when schools are open, during school hours they are accessible, but they are accessible anytime and anywhere, and that makes it exciting to access and learn after school hours. And yes, if physical labs are not there, are not functional,
Yeah.
then also they comes as
Very
they come
handy.
as a big rescue for just not missing the experiments and doing them
Absolutely.
in the virtual environment.
So I think this whole concept of accessing this type of environment, physical, I mean virtual labs, anytime, anywhere, as per your time, space and convenience is the best part of it. And since it's very handy, almost everybody is having a digital connection these days. Our government is also, making a lot of initiatives. It wants to connect India digitally. So I think internet is not a very big problem these days, and this is something that you can do repeatedly. So before entering the examination hall or even entering a physical laboratory, you are actually well versed with what you're about to do, and you already have imagined, visualized, or have seen things digitally, that how the outcome will be, how it will be shaped.
and the consumption of chemicals is also less when
Yes.
we are practicing the experiment multiple times and not
We're saving
just
resources.
consuming. We are saving resources
Right.
through them.
We are saving resources and also
And
keeping ourselves.
revising theoretical concepts
Yeah.
through virtual labs, then obtaining results sometimes in physical lab is time consuming. We have to wait to watch the results.
Absolutely.
But in the virtual environment, we can instantly watch the results of the experiments, and analysis of results can also be done there and then, which improves the logical thinking skills of the students. They can see the processes actually happening in the virtual environment.
Instant feedback is there.
Instant feedback is
Instant
there.
feedback is there, instant assessment and evaluation is also there, and this brings me to the role of teachers. So Dr. Praveen, I would like to ask you here that how virtual labs integration will help teachers to enhance their pedagogical and assessment practices.
Okay, well, it's a very good question. So we have come across a lot of features and advantages of technologies and virtual lab.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of recommendation for the digital education by NEP 2020. So the main question is now that how a teacher can integrate this virtual lab in their teaching learning process, and how well the students get benefited from this virtual lab. So the first point is, pedagogy is something that we need to understand, that art and science of teaching and learning. So the point is how we integrate the technology in our regular teaching learning practices. So Professor Indu well explained about the technology, pedagogy and content integration during our teaching learning process, and we are also giving that continuous training on how to integrate and why to integrate, and in what context we need to select an appropriate technology for appropriate pedagogy, so that we can maximize the learning, that we
Yes.
can say appropriate and optimum use of technology for maximize the learning outcome.
Yeah.
The point is here that how to use the virtual lab and when to use. The very simple things we should know that pre-lab session, performance lab session and the post lab session. So the pre-lab session, there we get an interaction about and get a introduction about theoretical concept of the practical activity. So before going to the lab, we are doing that pre-lab session and giving first-hand experience on the theoretical basis of the experiment. So that is the pre-lab session. With the help of virtual lab, teacher can make a simple visualization and presentation and the concept presentation of theory with the help of virtual lab in your physical classroom process. And after that, they can integrate in their performance lab session and in the actual lab session. And later on, again, the students can use this one as well, teacher use in the post lab session. So how things worked, how the theory aligned with the practical activities, that we can do with the help of virtual lab. Now here I would like to share some PPT here. You can see how our teachers can plan their lesson, because planning a lesson is very important and we can say instructional planning or instructional design. When we are using the technology, a teacher need to align the technology with their lesson. So the first important part is design a lesson plan integrating virtual labs. And the second part is that you use virtual labs to demonstrate experimental skill and help learners to develop such a skill. Because lab is something students are also gaining the lot of laboratory skill, like that handling the apparatures, controlling the variables, reading the observation and interpretation and analysis and come to the conclusion. This is a very important part of the lab activities. So teacher need to well align all these virtual lab activities in their lesson plan so that student can enhance their lab skill as well as other subject specific skills.
True. So handling apparatus and handling other laboratory equipment is not a fear anymore. Of course, you can carefully handle those beakers and test tubes because you have already performed these experiments virtually and you're really confident. Once you're entering the lab, you know what you are looking forward to and how you have to perform each and every step diligently. But are the intended users, they are taking the benefit of these freely available resources called virtual labs?
Yes, one thing we need to understand, what are the features of the virtual labs and what type of resources, digital resources available in the virtual lab. As usually we see in the physical laboratory activities, we have a theory, we have a list of materials to be used, we have a procedure, and after that we are performing that activities in the physical lab. So likewise, the students and teachers, they get interacted with that physical as well as that virtual activities. And that enhance their curiosity and that lead them to perform various activities and actually that helping them to the better learning outcome.
Yes.
And whoever the users, like we
can show them the data available also, which if we can cut to slides.
Yes, you can see here, after inception of this virtual lab that is launched in 29th July 2020, you can see how this user experience and the consumption of this virtual lab is increasing, and this shows that effectiveness of virtual lab, and the lot of users, maybe a teachers, maybe of any stakeholders or any learners, they are getting benefited with this virtual lab. So you can see the data here, how this data daily we are getting lot of updated in the number of virtual lab consumption.
Wow.
So this shows the benefits of this digital resources available in the virtual lab.
So if we concentrate on the graph, it is constantly increasing the uses of virtual labs.
And this also ensures that the internet connectivity is also getting better. So, because this is the most important thing that you need for accessing these virtual labs, a good internet connection, so that you can have a very nice user experience or a learner experience. Now, Professor Indu, we have seen, of course, as Dr. Praveen also mentioned, that how virtual labs are becoming an integral part of routine teaching learning experiences. And National Education Policy 2020 also focuses on AR and VR technologies. So just explain this to us, what exactly they are in brief, and how they are actually making a big difference to the education scenario here in India.
Yes. So like I mentioned earlier, there are lots of concepts in different subject areas, not
Yeah.
only in science, but they are there in social sciences also, mathematics also, which needs visualization. Until and unless we visualize them, I would like to give here an example of social science because it is easier to understand. Earth is spherical.
Yeah.
So this is an abstract concept. We see Earth as flat.
Yeah.
It is not seen spherical.
Yeah.
So without a 3D visualization of the concept that Earth is spherical, it is very hard to comprehend that Earth is
Yeah.
spherical. So all these subjects have such concepts which and processes also, like our digestive system. We cannot see it. Respiratory system, we cannot see it. So to make children understand those processes, virtual reality and augmented reality technologies are required. If we see in this slide, so this is the whole spectrum of reality, virtual reality and augmented reality. So we can focus on first picture. If we see the first picture, it's an image of a scenic view, scenic surrounding. So it's this is the reality which we see and which surrounds us. So we can see it through our naked eyes, through our eyes, if we are in such locations. So augmented reality is augmented with the resource which are there, like textbook is a resource. So if there is a graph or diagram in our textbook which is 2D, it's just a diagram.
Yes.
For example, a diagram of heart which is seen in the second picture. If it is there in the book, it is
In 2 dimension.
2D. It is two-dimensional. It's a line diagram.
Yeah.
So to visualize it in a 3D environment, we need to develop such images with the technology which augment the 3D also. And if we scan such images through a app, then it comes live in a 3D environment. So that is how we integrate augmented reality with the curriculum, with the text, with the concepts.
I think it's similar to watching 3D movies.
Yeah, more or less like that.
Just for the layman.
Just a 3D, the emergence of anything
Emergence
which
of
requires
anything.
3D
Yes.
visualization. Like you can see popping up of heart
That's
from the,
right. From the book.
textbook.
Yeah.
It is seen in the mobile device. So
Yeah.
we can just tilt it also. We can show them how
Okay.
heart pumps blood to our entire body. And for that matter, there are different other processes also, like respiratory system, digestive system.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah, earlier we used to teach these concepts through some model or
Absolutely.
drawing them on the
On a
blackboard.
yeah.
But now they get a near to real image of anything, experience of anything. We
Right.
don't get real, but we get near to
Very close to
real.
reality.
Yeah. And then virtual reality. In the virtual reality, like you are seeing the environment in the reality image. So such environment can be created virtually. So learner thinks or feels himself or herself as part of that environment. So not only one object is augmented, but the entire environment is created. In our virtual labs also, we have such virtual reality experiences also, where we feel ourselves part of the environment. We can handle equipments and perform experiments.
Wow.
So it feels as if we are handling the objects in the real lab environment.
So you are in the virtual reality, you are in it. That is
Yeah.
a virtual reality. And so there's a basic difference also between the two.
Yes, true. So augmented reality refers to the real time integration of digital information into a user environment, like a textbook is there as a user environment. So, a real time integration of digital information is there. While in virtual reality, it's a simulated experience created by computer technology that immerses users into that. So, we immerse in the virtual environment, and we can interact with the resources which are there, and we get a 3D environment. In augmented reality, we get a 3D objects.
True.
But here we get a 3D environment.
Yeah.
And then in AR technology, overlays content onto the real world. Real world is book, and we overlay the content there, and enriching by that we enrich a user's perception of reality rather than replacing it. But the virtual reality allows users to experience and interact with a virtual world as if they were there in a physical environment.
Right.
So, that is the difference between the two. And then there is extended reality also. So, it gets us an increased engagement and immersive learning experience. Then improved retention is also there, because we are visualizing them as if they are real, although they are near to real.
Yeah.
And then we can get a personalized learning experience also. If we are carrying an experiment in physical environment, so we are teaching a group of children, but here a personalized learning experience can be given to students, and then it enhances collaboration also, because children are learning together, though it is a combination of individualized and group learning.
Absolutely. And also it makes the learning really personalized, customized and very enhanced experience for learners. And now Dr. Parveen, we have learnt a lot of theory, why and how and everything is happening. It's time for some practicals. So where we can find these virtual labs, and what are those portals, and if you can navigate through the portals for our learners, then that will be great.
Okay, well, we have discussed lots about virtual lab. Let's see how that virtual labs looks, and this virtual lab is actually available in our Diksha platform. So here you can see the Diksha platform, and you can navigate through this Diksha platform.
And we can access Diksha by using URL diksha.gov.in.
Right.
So after accessing, yes, Dr. Bobby.
Yes, this is the Diksha platform. There are a lot of verticals are here. So you can click down one by one, that verticals is there, and within that this is the updated information that NCERT is now holding lot of activities. And if you scroll down, you can see that these are the focus areas of Diksha. And out of that, one of the most important part, that is the virtual lab we are discussing here.
Yeah.
And this is the verticals of virtual lab. So this is the virtual lab. You can see home page of virtual lab. You can navigate through this virtual lab. So it's you can see it's about that virtual lab, and just I told you about how and why and how each way that virtual lab is going to help us.
Yes.
And here you can see the list of virtual lab e-content. So this e-content available from class 6 onwards up to class 12th.
Okay.
You can explore this one. You can see the two mediums, English and Hindi mediums are there. All the content available in two medium. Very soon, like that ma'am already told about multilingual and lot of various languages we have. So very soon virtual labs come with the various languages.
Work in progress.
Okay. So within that you can see, we can explore all the mediums are there, Hindi and English. So as per the desire, a teacher can click, a student can click the medium, English or Hindi, and after clicking you can see here the list of subject.
Yeah.
They can navigate through the subject, and if you navigate the subject, so this is one example of, if you navigate through that content, then you can see one page, you can see how this lab content are available here. You
On our right, we can see the list of experiments which are there.
Okay.
And in the left, there is a player. So, where the experiments gets played as a virtual learning experience.
Okay.
So, there is an example of the one experiment of class 7th, which was minimized. So, we can
yes,
show
yes.
that for better understanding. Yes.
Yes, so here you can see theories are there, procedures are there, videos is there, simulator, then self-assessment is there, and after that we talked about that personalized learning and immediate feedback.
Yeah.
So whatever the activities students and teachers or any user they're doing, so they can get immediate feedback. So let's suppose you wanted to explore this one, you can start and you can see how this lab looks like.
So, it is like a real lab,
Yes.
near to real experience we are getting, and the concept is air expands by heating.
Yes, air expands on heating.
On heating.
Okay.
So this is all about the virtual lab.
So, you can pick up the balloon over there and put it in a in a beaker where hot water is there. You can just pick up the red one. Yes. Yes, and you can try placing it.
So suppose while simulating this thing, if you will get any kind of issues like technological glitches and any, so you can go here, the reload, you can again restart this one. So the repetition of this virtual labs is the one best features.
Yeah.
So there is no worry and hurry to do any experiment here. So
Nothing like physical laboratories that something was missing and we had to skip the class. Nothing like
So,
that.
now it is placed in
hot water,
and it is being inflated by the
Yes,
hot
steam,
air.
yeah.
So, you can see it here, and if we place it in cold water,
And I'm sure in the days to come, we will witness different experiments pertaining to different subjects. And here we are just giving you one demonstration that how a virtual lab looks like, and just a gist of one of the experiments that are already there and already performed and saved in this virtual environment.
yes. So, this was one example of doing experiment in the virtual environment, in the virtual laboratory, and there are lot of such experiences available if we explore the virtual labs on Diksha.
I'm
so,
sure.
Dr. Bobby has already demonstrated the method, the process of accessing virtual labs, which are there for classes 6 to 12th and in different subject areas, and currently in English and Hindi.
So, we are running short of time also, but this is just a glimpse of how a virtual lab works. In the days to come, as I've mentioned earlier, you'll be witnessing a lot of experiments pertaining to different subjects, and of course different experts will be here and they will tell you how you can perform these experiments at the ease of your space and convenience as well as time. So, now it's time for me to show you the website also, because I already mentioned it's a training program under the umbrella theme of integration of virtual labs in teaching learning. Today we had a discussion on day 1. We understood about virtual labs, its need, perspective and scope. Now, how you can participate in this training session, because this will extend to some 8 days approximately, but to be precise, you can get all the details here on this website. So you have to log on to ciet.ncert.gov.in. That's a CIET homepage, and here you can go to the activities section, choose workshop and training option, scroll down, and here you will see 2 activities under current activity heading. You have to click on integration of virtual labs in teaching learning phase 2, which we have already mentioned in the beginning. Here you can go through this complete write-up on virtual labs, and this is something
and the
for
training
you,
schedule also.
Yeah, for you to learn. And who can participate? This session, this training program is open to all. Specifically in these days or in the phase 2, we are catering to the audiences from the south zone of the country, but anybody can watch these sessions and participate. Here is the entire program schedule, where we have discussed titles, name of the resource persons, who all will be coming and when they will be coming, and what will be the duration. Everything is there. Now, you also have to participate in case you want to attend the assessment. So participate either by clicking on this link or scanning this QR code. You can register yourself. Second step will be to watch all the live training sessions very carefully, which are streamlined on these platforms, and they're also uploaded on our YouTube channel NCERT Official for later references. And then on the last day of the training program, you can participate in the post-session activity, and if you score more than 70%, you will get a certificate. Here are the timings, when the link will be opened, when it will be closed, and last but not the least, it's very important for you to share your feedback with us, because we want to improve upon the training programs, we want to improve the content of the virtual labs, and for that your feedback is extremely important. So either write to us on diksha.training@cret.nic.in or participate in the session during the live broadcast or webcast. So that was about the website, how you can participate, and now it's time for me to thank both my experts for their wonderful contribution to the session. They have set the tone for the days to come. So Professor Indu Kumar and Dr. Praveen, thank you so much for your time and contribution to the session. And I'm wrapping up this session over here, but before I leave the studio, it's time to have a quick look at the schedule. Yes, let's see what all programs you can watch during the day. In a short while from now, you can watch a session of ours on English at 12 p.m. and on 2 p.m. we will bring you a session on mathematics. Then from 2:30 to 3 you can watch a session in Hindi. From 3 p.m. there will be a session in English titled Come Back Soon. 3:30 to 4 we will bring you a session on mathematics, and 4 to 5 p.m. will be the time for our online training program in English. This will continue for 5 days, and today will be the first day where we will be talking about cyber safety, the double-edged sword. Yes, the title is there on your screen. And from 5 to 5:30 we will bring you our session Sahyog, where we will talk about transitions and mental well-being. With this is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you, but I'll join you very soon. Please stay tuned with us for more educational programs. Namaskar.